I'm currently breastfeeding a toddler and a baby at the same time, and I can't tell you how many times I've had comments about this, questions about this. Is it possible? Is it safe? Is he going to stop anytime soon? Will the toddler take all the milk from the baby? How does it work? Well, I'm going to answer all these questions. I'm going to tell you the science, the pros, the cons, and I'm going to bust some myths, so strap in. So I'm Joanna. I have 2 children, a 2.5-year-old and a 9-month-old, and at the moment I'm doing a little series where I am covering one study at a time, or maybe even a few studies at a time, to try and give you some evidence-based parenting tips, like takeaways that we can all get better at this parenting thing together, because it's hard. Tandem feeding is breastfeeding more than one child. It's usually 2 children of different ages, but I mean, I suppose it could be twins as well. Actually more common than people realise, and it's something that I don't see much information about online at all, so I'm hoping this will help you today. So let's talk about the science. How does the body manage it? Is it possible? Well, the answer is yes. Breast milk production works on a supply and demand basis. So the more milk that's removed from the breast, the more that the body produces. Research on human milk physiology confirms that the breast does not have a fixed capacity on how much gets divided between 2 children. If you suckle at the breast and ask for demand, then it will supply. And the second trimester, around week 20, the milk typically transitions back to colostrum rather than like a mature milk, and some toddlers might wean at this point because it can taste a bit strange, might not be quite as much. Some continue to just nurse right through. My child, he just kept going. It did not faze him that it was colostrum. And when the new baby arrives, again, it will be colostrum. The newborn's needs take priority. So colostrum should be produced for the baby first, and then if the toddler receives that after, then so be it. But it's just a bonus for the older child's immune system because it's full of great stuff. What are the pros? Well, continued nutritional and immune benefits for the older child. As I covered in my last video about breastfeeding, like longer term, there are loads of benefits to this. There are HMOs, antibodies and fat-soluble vitamins in breast milk. The studies show that children who have extended breastfeeding into like the 2nd year, they have far fewer episodes of illness than children who weaned earlier. So tandem feeding means that your toddler continues to get all of those benefits. It also helps to establish a milk supply postpartum. This is something I was really motivated by. With my first child, I really struggled to get him to latch, and for me a big worry was, if I stop breastfeeding while I'm pregnant, will I be able to get my baby to latch again? Will I have supply issues? I had mastitis quite a lot of times. I didn't want to risk that. Well, toddlers are very experienced feeders. They have a good suction, and basically nursing them in the early postpartum days means that when your supply and demand completely changes again and you become engorged, your toddler is going to be able to help regulate your supply by being consistent and helping relieve engorgement. I really found that helpful. It can also ease the transition for the older child. So when a new baby comes along, this can be so disturbing for the older child. I mean, they're the apple of your eye, only child, and all of a sudden that's gone now and there's another child that has to share mummy. Studies show that the continuing routine and having continual closeness to mum through breastfeeding can really reinforce that secure emotional attachment, and can be very, very reassuring when they're feeling really upset. So for a toddler who nurses, continue to provide the same comfort that you provided before. That can be really helpful for that adjustment period. And the last pro is that everyone gets oxytocin. That's the feel-good hormone, and basically it makes everyone happy. I find that when I have one on each, they both sit and smile and they play with each other, and it's actually quite cute. And I like it. Okay, now let's look at the cons, because there are cons. First of all, it's very physically demanding. I am so thirsty. I like to snack. I just want sugar and water all the time. And I feel like I could probably never have enough water and liquids in my diet. It does have a significant nutritional and calorie intake requirement. So you do need to have above the 500 calories that you're recommended. And you need to make sure that you're drinking so much water. Also, being touched out. This is something I hear breastfeeding mums say a lot, but when you've got an older child, that can be really quite overstimulating. Make sure that you have boundaries. So if you don't want to and you've got like a nursing aversion, you can say no, you can set boundaries in place, because Personally, when I was pregnant and my child would want to breastfeed off of me, I found that really intense, and I did definitely have an aversion. Also, for some people, navigating the order of feeding when you have a newborn to make sure that your newborn gets the colostrum first, feed your baby first, and then feed your toddler after. You might want to get a lactation consultant to help if you're struggling with this. And also social judgment. This is probably one of the biggest cons, because there's so little information about this. People don't talk about it, and the judgment is real. People frankly don't know much about breastfeeding at all. It can really take a toll on your mental health, especially if you've got people that are quite critical around you. I'm just going to bust some myths quickly, because there are a lot of myths out there. First of all, your milk won't be enough for the baby if the toddler is feeding as well. This is not true. There's supply and demand. If you are drinking lots of water, eating lots of food, you will be able to produce enough breast milk for 2 babies. But tandem feeding in itself doesn't mean that you will have an inadequate supply. Myth number 2, breastfeeding during pregnancy is dangerous. For a low risk pregnancy where your obstetrician says that you can, it can be absolutely fine. Nipple stimulation from breastfeeding does trigger small amounts of oxytocin, and oxytocin does make your uterus contract. I definitely had more Braxton Hicks second time around, but that's also normal in your second pregnancy. And I remember going for a few, you know, when you go into triage to get monitored, you get the little strap. I saw a few like contractions, but they were completely harmless and didn't actually lead to anything. There's no increased risk of preterm labour in healthy pregnancies when you're continuing to breastfeed. If you have a history of preterm labour or you're high risk, then this is something that you will need to discuss with your midwife. So please do not take my word as gospel. Myth 3 is that your toddler is too old to be breastfeeding anyway. As I covered in my last video, there isn't really an upper age limit, and there are just only benefits really, so just stop when you want to or when your toddler wants to. Number 4 is you'll completely be nutritionally depleted. I mean, this does have a grain of truth, because I was anemic in my last pregnancy. I think probably contributed by the fact that I was breastfeeding still. You have to be eating loads, drinking loads, and having a really balanced diet. It's definitely manageable. You can definitely do it, but you need to be taking your vitamins, your prenatals, drink lots of water, eat lots of food. But this in and of itself doesn't necessarily mean that you will be nutritionally depleted. You just need to be careful. So what's the takeaway? If you're pregnant and you're still breastfeeding a baby, a toddler, or you are feeding both, science does not tell you to stop. There's no need to stop. It's only social judgment that is fueled by a lack of awareness and education. The most important thing is that your nutritional needs are met. Drink all the time, eat lots of food, and as long as your children are happy and they're healthy, and if it works for you to give them comfort and it's fine, then keep going. You're not going to get a medal for continuing, but there's also no failure if you decide to stop. Whatever you want to do is absolutely fine, and I'm hoping that this is some accurate information that you can take with you. If you like this video, please do hit like. Let me know your comments below. Are you breastfeeding like me still? Because it is pretty intense sometimes, but I also do love it. Let me know your thoughts below, and hopefully I'll see you for another video. See you later.